This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive. Featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Good morning and welcome back to Investment Perspectives, everybody. I wanted to talk to you about this article right here. And that face you're looking at is Chris Giancarlo, the former CFTC chairman. It's a big deal because he's working on the new digital dollar. Let's talk about this. We're going to cover this and what it may mean if all the central banks, which really clearly they do intend to create their own central bank digital currency, and what it really means. All right, let's talk about this. So, Accenture and ex-CFTC chair push for digital dollar. The Digital Dollar Foundation, a U.S. think tank backed by a coterie of former executives of the Commodities Future Trading Commission and Accenture, which is working with Ripple, have formed a partnership to advance the exploration of an American central bank digital currency. The backers of the initiative, called Digital Dollar Project, said they are about to release a white paper making the case for Uncle Sam to digitize the dollar and offer a range of trial use cases and design scenarios. They announced this on May 11th, yesterday, online at Consensus, a cryptocurrency conference. Although the backers have been working on this for some time, the pandemic and the huge response it has triggered from the Federal Reserve Bank and others has made questions of the dollar-based world order even more relevant. Over the last 8 weeks, the entire globe has been dollarized, said Giancarlo, the former CFTC chairman, which under his term authorized Bitcoin futures contracts, which, by the way, are now on top of the underlying asset Bitcoin. And the halving happened yesterday and overnight here in the States. And this is important to understand that this is the first time a Bitcoin halving has had futures contracts on top of that asset, allowing people to short the asset as well as go long. Okay, and now a lawyer and co-founder of the Digital Dollar Foundation. Is this a blip in the beginning of a trend away from the dollar, or is this taking us into the future? Right now, as a global reserve currency, the dollar is unassailable, but times change, and this current crisis has shown that limitations of its analog nature, format, and delivery system. One of his project co-directors, Daniel Gorfine, a fintech consultant and previous chief innovation officer at CFTC, said digitizing the dollar now was a way for the future-proof the dollar and enhance its status. The space race of money, and that's really what this is. What a great way to say this. Giancarlo says the approach should be a private-public partnership akin to the space race in the creation of the internet. Now, that is an important sentence right there, ladies and gentlemen. A private and public partnership, which means there will be a winner in the private sectors that work alongside of the governments in the creation of this digital dollar. That is pretty incredible. In the U.S., when we do a big project, it's through public and private partnerships to make sure the values of a free society are brought to bear. David Treat, Senior Manager Director of Accenture, says it's time for money to innovate in line with other digital advances, the tokenized fiat currency, but as simple as possible without changing the role of the Federal Reserve or the Treasury. We see a phenomenal use case in the notion of central banks and the value of programmable nature of money, he said. Applications could incur a better way to transmit government benefits and get money to the underbanked. About 20% of Americans lack a bank account or otherwise are regulated to cash and pay lending. Digital custody wallets could be preloaded onto smartphones and activate with digital identity verification tools, thus helping pull undeserved into the formal financial system. Now, this is incredible because what they're talking about here is really bringing money back into the hands of the underbanked. If you're underbanked or you don't have bank account and any kind of checking or anything like that, you're going to check cash in place or your local liquor store and they're charging you 8, 10, 15% to cash your checks, and they're just killing you every time you go and take that money in. This could be huge for the lower income sector that may not have a banking system to provide their check cashing on. In response to the pandemic harm to the economy, the government has been mailing millions of checks, but these have to be cashed at a bank, and at a time when people are supposed to be avoiding social contact, CBDC could address that too. Principle of innovation is the project advocates maintaining the two-tier banking system with a clear division between the central bank that mints dollar tokens and distributes these through a commercial banking system. There remains questions of how far into merchant and individual affairs the central bank might reach, but Treat says design should be careful not to harm commercial bank roles. Third principle, he says, is to maintain privacy in financial transactions. In the U.S., cash transactions under $10,000 do not need any reporting, above which there is a mechanism for KYC, anti-money laundering compliance. Treat says such freedoms or obligations should be encoded into the digital dollar. To make this work will require careful design for digital identity and verification. Now, this is a big part, the identity, the digital identity and verification. It will require creating a wallet infrastructure for banks, businesses, and individuals to hold and transact digital dollars. This will necessitate thinking about features such as whether to pay interest on a CBDC, but Treat says the ideal would be to make the experience as close as possible to physical cash, both to let individuals make payments and deposits, as well as to enable commercial banks to accept digital deposits and use the capital to extend loans. The U.S. dollar is the world's primary reserve currency, so any innovation will impact the rest of the world far more than with any other currency. This primacy is not a function of America forcing others to use the dollar, but our governments, corporations, and investors choosing to use the dollar. This is partly because of a network effect. It's just very convenient to transact in dollars, even if governments would prefer to advance the use of their own currency. It is also, however, a reflection of American financial stability, rule of law, free market capitalism, as well as the depth and openness of the capital markets. Values that digital dollar project backers say they want to see embedded in any central bank digital currency design. Okay, so I find this to be remarkable because they're making these strides and advances, and they're getting ready to come out with this digital dollar in a test, in a white paper, and begin testing the different use case and trial scenarios. What I find interesting about that is because we have reported here often about how the trickle-down theory of regulation and framework for this space has happened from the international level down to the domestic state government and state levels. It's no different here. We have seen the Financial Stability Board and the FATF. These are regulatory bodies attached to the G20, the largest countries with the largest economies of the world, including the United States, where they all collectively sit together and they come up with a framework that is strong enough to deliver a frame for every country to build down on and drill down on their regulation within their respective countries without going outside of that guidelines and that framework for the world. I believe this is what we're seeing here. And with the potential release of new trials coming up very soon, I would imagine here with the digital dollar, this is going to be quite interesting. I cannot wait to see the white paper on the digital dollar and what their plans are. Knowing that central bank digital currencies as a whole were just recently recommended by the Financial Stability Board to consider banning private stablecoins. We also saw this. Let me take a look at this here. The Federal Reserve, this just came out yesterday as well, had released some information that they did a study on XRP compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Now, I want to just talk about this really quickly because there has been talk about releasing. XRP has announced last November of last year that you could launch stablecoins off of the XRP ledger. Stellar, XLM, has recently said the same thing. Some people believe that XLM will be All of these coins can be used internationally. Let's understand that, all across the globe. But some people are coming to the notion that it is possible that Stellar, which sponsored the conference at Consensus yesterday with the digital dollar and Chris Giancarlo, are suggesting that it might be possible that Stellar's network will be used as a public-private relationship for the digital dollar to be built on. While others are also suggesting that it may be XRP, others are also bringing up the notion that XRP has been said in the World Economic Forum Policy Toolmaker Kit that XRP will be used as a settlement coin between all central bank digital currencies internationally. So it doesn't mean that Stellar cannot be used. It just suggests that there will be a public and private relationship between all the central bank digital currencies and that RTGS system. And then possibly XLM being a ledger that's used as a public and private relationship for the digital US dollar private and public system. So something to keep in mind as we wait for more information. However, this coming from the Federal Reserve, they're talking about XRP compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And here they basically show a little chart showing that there's less volatility when it comes to regulation and how it impacts the price and movement of the market from XRP as opposed to these other coins that are looked at. Now, I think there's a simple answer for that. Brad Garlinghouse has made it very clear that there is not another coin out here that is more compliant than XRP. When it comes to KYC, AML, CFT, and the travel rule, Ripple, the company, has done an amazing job positioning XRP, the token, and the ledger in the position to be already compliant with all of those standards from day one. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope in some way we've been able to broaden the conversation, bring some insight to it. Hit the like and subscribe. And don't forget about the show today at 12 p.m. Eastern right here on Investment Perspectives. And I got some good news today. We have the Digital Ledger channel back. Go like and subscribe to that channel. It will be short pre-recorded video content on crypto and Ripple and XRP as well, but it will only be short video content on that channel just for those of you who do not have a lot of time. We will cover a wider range of things other than just Ripple XRP as well. Make sure you stay tuned and follow that channel, the Digital Ledger channel. I will put a link to that channel in the comment section below this video. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.